My beloved child, don't skip this fictional inspirational story, because tonight something extraordinary is about to happen. Stay until the very end, because this journey may change the way you see every challenge you've ever faced. For a long time, you believed your efforts were going unnoticed. You watched others move ahead while your own dreams seemed delayed again and again. There were nights when you questioned whether your hard work, your patience, and your faith had any purpose at all. But what you couldn't see was that every difficult season was quietly preparing you for something greater than you had imagined. There were moments when you wanted to give up. Opportunities disappeared. People doubted you. Some even told you that your dreams were impossible. Yet each time life knocked you down, you found the strength to stand again. Not because the road was easy, but because something deep inside refused to stop believing that brighter days would eventually come. One quiet evening, in this fictional story, you have a vivid dream. A warm light fills the sky, and a gentle voice says, "Your greatest victory will never be measured by how quickly you succeed, but by the courage you show when no one is cheering for you." Every act of kindness, every honest decision, and every step you took with hope has shaped the person you are becoming. You wake up with those words echoing in your heart. For the first time in a long while, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you begin asking, "What is this season preparing me for?" Later that day, an unexpected opportunity appears. A person who quietly noticed your dedication months ago reaches out with an invitation to work on a meaningful project. They tell you, "I've been watching the way you treat people, the way you stay committed even when no one is looking. Skills can be taught, but character is much harder to find." Hearing those words, you realize that the greatest opportunities often arrive long after the greatest tests. Every disappointment, every delay, and every challenge had been shaping your strength, your wisdom, and your compassion. As the sun begins to set, you look toward the horizon with a peaceful smile. You finally understand that the victory wasn't only waiting at the finish line. The victory was becoming a person who refused to let hardship take away hope, kindness, or integrity. And as you step into this new chapter, you know that the best part of your journey has only just begun. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional inspirational story, because tonight the journey takes an unexpected turn. What seemed like an ordinary opportunity is about to reveal a purpose far greater than you ever imagined. Stay until the very end, because this chapter changes everything. The next morning, you arrive at the place where you were invited. As you walk through the doors, you notice people from different backgrounds, each carrying their own dreams and struggles. You quietly wonder why you were chosen to be there. Deep inside, you still feel unworthy, still remembering every failure that once convinced you that success wasn't meant for you. A mentor welcomes you with a warm smile and says, "You've spent years believing you were waiting for your opportunity. The truth is, your opportunity has been waiting for you to become ready." Those words stay with you for the rest of the day. Over the following weeks, new responsibilities begin to appear. At first they seem overwhelming, but every challenge reminds you of the difficult seasons you've already survived. The patience you learned during your hardest days now becomes your greatest strength. The kindness you showed when no one was watching begins opening doors that talent alone never could. One afternoon, a young person approaches you and quietly says, "I almost gave up on my dream, but seeing you keep going gave me hope." In that moment, you realize your journey was never only about your own success. It was also about becoming an example for someone else who needed encouragement. That evening, you sit alone watching the sunset. You remember every setback that once felt like the end of your story. Now you see them differently. They weren't roadblocks. They were lessons. They weren't punishments. They were preparing you to handle the blessings that were coming with wisdom instead of pride. As darkness fills the sky, you quietly whisper, "Now I understand." The greatest reward isn't simply reaching the destination. It's becoming the kind of person who can help others find their way too. Just as you stand to leave, your phone rings unexpectedly. You answer the call, and the voice on the other end says, "There's something important we need to tell you." The opportunity you accepted was only the beginning, because an even greater responsibility is waiting for you tomorrow. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional inspirational story, because tonight everything you have been through finally begins to make sense. Stay until the very end, because the next step in your journey will reveal that every challenge was preparing you for a purpose far greater than you ever imagined. The next morning, you arrive at the meeting with a heart full of questions. You still don't know why you were called back or what this new responsibility could possibly be. As you enter the room, you notice people from different cities, each working to improve the lives of others. The atmosphere is calm, but you can feel that something important is about to happen. A respected mentor walks to the front of the room and begins speaking. Many people believe success is about being the smartest person in the room, they say. But real success belongs to those who continue showing kindness, honesty, and perseverance even when nobody is watching. Those words touch your heart. The mentor continues, "We've been observing people for a long time. Not to see who had the most money or the biggest achievements, but to find those whose character remained strong during difficult seasons. Your name kept appearing because you never stopped helping others, even while facing your own challenges." For a moment, you cannot believe what you are hearing. Every quiet act of kindness you thought had gone unnoticed had, in fact, been making a difference. Over the next few days, you begin working with a team dedicated to creating opportunities for students, supporting struggling families, and encouraging young people to believe in themselves. Every story you hear reminds you of your own journey. You realize that your greatest strength isn't what you have accomplished, it's your ability to understand people who are still fighting their hardest battles. One evening, after finishing another meaningful day, you receive a handwritten note from the mentor. It reads, "Never forget where you started. Humility will take you farther than success ever can." You fold the note carefully and place it in your pocket. Looking up at the evening sky, you smile with gratitude. For the first time, you no longer see your past as a series of failures. You see it as the training ground that prepared you for this moment. But just as you begin to understand your purpose, another unexpected invitation arrives. It simply says, "Tomorrow, we want you to meet the person whose life was completely changed because you refused to give up." You quietly close your eyes, wondering who that person could be. Little do you know, the answer is about to become the most unforgettable moment of your entire journey. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional inspirational story, because tonight you are about to meet the person whose life was changed by a decision you barely remember making. Stay until the very end, because this moment will reveal that no act of kindness is ever truly wasted. The next morning, you arrive at the meeting hall with a heart full of curiosity. As the doors slowly open, dozens of people are already waiting. Some are smiling, some are holding flowers, and others are quietly wiping tears from their eyes. You wonder why everyone is looking at you. The mentor walks onto the stage and gently says, "Today isn't about celebrating success. Today is about celebrating the impact one faithful and compassionate life can have on others." Suddenly, a young woman walks toward you. She smiles and says, "You probably don't remember me. A few years ago, when I had almost given up on my education, you encouraged me with just a few words. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. Today, I'm a teacher because of that conversation." Before you can respond, another person steps forward. "When my family was struggling, you helped us without expecting anything in return. That kindness gave us hope to keep going." Then another. And another. One by one, people begin sharing stories you had completely forgotten. Simple acts of kindness that seemed ordinary to you had become life-changing moments for someone else. Tears fill your eyes as you realize something extraordinary. The greatest victories in life are often the ones we never see. The mentor smiles warmly and places a small wooden box in your hands. Inside is a simple note. It reads, "Your reward was never meant to be applause. Your reward is the lives that continue shining because you chose kindness when no one was watching." The room fills with applause, but your heart remains humble. Looking around, you understand that true success is not measured by titles, wealth, or recognition. It is measured by the hope you leave behind in the hearts of others. As the celebration comes to an end, the mentor quietly says, "This isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning of a legacy that will continue through every person you've inspired." Walking outside into the golden light of the setting sun, you smile with gratitude. For the first time, every delay, every disappointment, and every difficult season finally makes sense. And although you don't know it yet, the most beautiful chapter of your life is still waiting to be written. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional inspirational story, because tonight your journey reaches a moment you never imagined. Stay until the very end, because the greatest blessing is closer than you think. The days that follow are unlike anything you have experienced before. Every morning brings a new opportunity to encourage someone, to lift another person when they feel weak, and to remind them that hope is never lost. You slowly realize that your purpose was never to stand above others. It was to walk beside them and help them rise. Months pass, and the project continues to grow. More volunteers join. More families receive support. More students achieve their dreams. Everywhere you go, people greet you with gratitude, not because you became famous, but because you never forgot how it felt to struggle yourself. One afternoon, the mentor invites you to a quiet garden. Sitting beneath a large tree, they smile and say, "Do you remember the day you thought your life was falling apart?" You nod. The mentor continues, "If every door had opened when you wanted it to, you would never have become the person sitting here today. Every delay shaped your character. Every disappointment strengthened your patience. Every setback prepared you to carry responsibilities that success alone could never teach. Those words remain in your heart. That evening, while walking home, you pass someone sitting alone on a park bench, looking discouraged. Without thinking twice, you sit beside them and begin talking. You share your own story, not the victories, but the struggles, the failures, and the moments when you almost gave up. As you speak, hope slowly returns to their eyes. Before leaving, they quietly say, "Thank you. Today, you gave me a reason to keep going." You smile, realizing that this simple conversation is more valuable than any award you could ever receive. As the stars begin to fill the night sky, you look upward with gratitude. You no longer ask why life was difficult. You understand that every challenge became part of a greater purpose. And just before you walk through your front door, a new letter is waiting. It contains only one sentence. Your journey has inspired more people than you know, but the greatest chapter is still waiting ahead. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional inspirational story, because this is the final chapter. Every difficult season, every unanswered question, and every challenge has led to this beautiful moment. Stay until the very end, because the greatest victory was never waiting at the finish line, it was waiting inside the person you became along the way. Several years pass. The project that once began with one small opportunity has now touched thousands of lives. Students have graduated and returned to mentor others. Families who once received help are now helping new families. Communities that once struggled are filled with hope again. Every act of kindness has created another, and the circle of compassion continues to grow. One evening, the mentor invites you back to the place where your journey truly began. The room is quiet, just as it was on your first day. Smiling warmly, the mentor says, "I have one final gift for you." You slowly open a small wooden box. Inside is not a trophy. Not money. Not a medal. Only a mirror. Confused, you look at the mentor. They gently smile and say, "Look carefully. The greatest blessing was never something we could place in your hands. It was the person you became through every trial, every setback, and every act of kindness. That is a treasure no one can ever take away." Tears fill your eyes as you look into the mirror. For the first time, you no longer see someone defined by past failures. You see someone who never stopped believing. Someone who chose honesty over shortcuts. Someone who kept showing kindness, even when life was difficult. Someone who discovered that true success is measured by the lives you help, not the applause you receive. Months later, the mentor peacefully retires, leaving the work in your hands. You continue the mission with the same humility that first opened the door. New leaders rise. More children find opportunities. More families discover hope. The work never stops, because kindness continues to spread from one life to another. One quiet evening, as the sun sets across the horizon, you stand outside the community center watching children laugh and families smile together. You close your eyes for a moment and remember the difficult days when you believed your story was over. Now you understand. Those days were never the end. They were the beginning. You softly whisper. The greatest victory was never becoming successful. The greatest victory was becoming someone who could bring hope to others. A gentle breeze moves through the trees. The lights inside the building glow warmly. The laughter of children fills the air. Your heart is filled with peace. And in this fictional story, the ending everyone hoped for finally arrives. The person who once felt forgotten discovers a life filled with purpose. The one who once searched for hope becomes a source of hope for countless others. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every tear becomes a reason to encourage someone else. Every act of kindness continues long after it is given. The journey ends not with fame or fortune, but with a heart full of gratitude, a life full of meaning, and a legacy of compassion that will live on for generations.